So yeah, I should play the music
Venom,
now, right?
Venom.
I got peanuts in my mouth still, so it's weird to talk.
You got some nuts in your mouth?
I got peanuts in my mouth.
Should have thought about that.
That's pretty on topic because having nuts in your mouth is definitely what this movie is about.
Absolutely. Yeah, in a lot of ways.
What? Which one are we talking about first?
Anyway.
Whatever.
Hi, guys. We're Crosscut Cinema. We review movies.
I'm Bridget.
I'm Madison.
I'm Franny.
Logan, still peanuts in my mouth. But right off the bat, we spoil movies we review. So if you don't want to find out about what these movies, like what the endings are, if you don't want them spoiled for you, go watch the movie first, come back and listen to this review. And then also, if you're somebody who's super into like superhero universes, MCU, whatever, DC universe, all that stuff, we're going to talk about a lot of these superhero universes in a spoilery way, just to kind of compare to the Venom stuff. So if you don't want spoilers for those movie universes, also don't listen to this. Cool.
Now that that's all out of the way.
Or like just catch up on stuff and then listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Or watch the movie.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Watch the entire MCU and come back.
Yeah. We'll give you
but
3 days.
24 hours.
Yeah.
And go.
You got this.
I think it's literally more hours
Venom
than would be available in a single day, even if you watch from beginning to end. I don't think you could do it.
That would, I just can't even imagine.
People do it though. I mean, not.
No, I mean they literally can't do it in exactly 24 hours.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right.
At this point, there's like
people binge
24
it though
movies.
before new movies, right?
Yeah, there's Marvel Fest and stuff for the big movie, like when Infinity War and Endgame were coming out. Like
a lot
you
of
could
people
go,
did that, yeah.
but not for
That's
like Black Widow. There's no
insane.
Marvel Fest for like Black Widow's release
Yeah.
Oh.
Understood.
or Shang-Chi, which was actually really good. But
I know somebody who's like into Marvel movies but doesn't want to see Shang-Chi because they're just like low-key being racist about it. I'm like,
Ooh.
whoa, wow,
Yeah, fucked
okay.
up.
Why do you talk to that person?
I don't willingly. It's somebody I work with. Anyway.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking go see Shang-Chi.
Not
It's
one of the people
best.
she works with on the podcast, by the way.
No, no.
Her actual job.
Right. Like as if one of us four
The way that
on the
could
podcast.
read to somebody, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's somebody to the somebody
Right.
in this room
One of
to the
them-
left of me.
Oh
But
God.
we're not. I'm just kidding.
I like how you
Anyways.
had to think about it, whether it was left or the right of you.
I didn't. Oh yeah, it would be.
Wait, what are you trying to say?
I didn't know which way. I just said away.
Anyway, you took a long time to say
Oh my
it.
God.
We're talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and we're also going to talk about Malignant later in the video, which, again, if you don't know any Malignant spoilers and don't want to be spoiled for it, go nowhere on the internet and watch the whole movie on HBO.
I thought we were going to talk about Malignant first.
I thought we were talking about Venom first.
Yeah, I just
I
thought
had no
it was Venom.
expectations
She
for
said
it.
the nuts thing. I was so sure then.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, I'm ready to talk about Venom. I'm like fucking chomping at the
Venom!
bit. Venom!
Venom!
I'm chomping at the bit. bitch.
Venom!
Venom.
Yeah.
That's what you just scream at the other person you're going to see Venom with before you see it. So I saw...
So are we ready to start talking about Venom?
yes.
I've never been more ready.
All right.
right,
So
let's
I want to
start.
talk about the first Venom for just a second before we jump into the new one, because nobody else here has seen the first Venom but me.
Nope.
I really want to now.
So the first Venom is way worse than this Venom, but it's the same kind of energy. So if you really liked the first Venom, I'm certain you'll like this one more, because the good things that were in Venom are expanded on here, and they got rid of a lot of the boring stuff. Like, this movie's runtime is so breakneck, like you can barely keep up with it.
That's
It is
like
so
the first,
fast.
That's the first thing Bridget said when we came out of the movies last night, was that movie was like fucking quick.
Pace.
Yeah.
Pace, dude.
But I loved that. I love a
Right.
quick minute. Get me in, get me out. 90 minutes.
To be honest with you, I even thought I thought they could have used an extra 10 minutes. Like, just because there isn't a lot of character development, and I think that's fine considering what the movie is. It's not trying to be a movie. It's trying to be a wrestling match in a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would have liked some more character development from somebody, make me like Shriek or maybe Carnage himself. Like give us some a little something extra, because the time is so quick that I was like, oh, I was enjoying that. Like, I could actually use more of it.
I actually assumed,
like for once in a movie, I'm not like, oh my God, they need to cut out 20 minutes. I'm like, they needed to add 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
I
for
actually
sure.
assumed because of how fast it was that like this movie would just be like directly after, like kind of like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 of like Venom. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
Right.
how it like feels like it's the action part of the whole movie and like a lot of character development in the first. But Logan said it's really not that.
No, Venom is like really bad. Like the first one's really bad. And the pacing's really bad. And all the character development that happens in that movie is about as deep as the ones that are done in this movie. It's just kind of very surface level. Like if you want like a deep story about like a parasite or something, like taking control of someone's body, watch Upgrade. If you want like a really good version of that, watch Upgrade. If you want to watch something really fun and like just like total popcorn bullshit Jurassic World level movie, just like fun movie, the Venom series is what you want to do.
I cannot express to you enough how much I enjoyed watching this movie.
It's so much fucking fun.
That is probably the most fun movie theater experience I've had in a while. I just had a good ass time. Like, okay, like go in and lower your expectations a little bit.
Like it's not going to be. It's not like it's not like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. It's not like The Dark Knight. It's not like this amazing like breaking superhero movie. It's like really schlock, but like so much fun.
Like it really it kind of finds the line between like what some other DC films are doing, which is like being really, really gritty, and then like the Marvel movies, which I find are a little bit more fun, but then they also have this like very intense world building. And Venom is like, this is a story about a guy and his alien boyfriend. You know, that's what this movie is.
There's not like she's kind of saying, I wouldn't call the story very in depth with like its plot. I don't think the plot is like necessarily amazing and has a lot of world building.
But I think that's why the very quick pacing works for it, because the plot is, there's not actually a lot of plot. Like not a lot happens in this movie actually. No. And it all takes place over the course of like a couple days, I think. So
and they
it's
got
like really quick.
They got rid of was it Cletus Cassidy? Was that his name? They got rid of his bozo wig, like his sideshow Bob wig from the end credits of the last movie.
Great.
Which I appreciate.
And apparently Woody Harrelson, the number one reason for that was he was publicly complaining about the wig because people were clowning on him on like Reddit.
As well they should have.
Yeah, I mean he looked insane. And then there's also like a small portion of people who are weird about this movie and Woody Harrelson. I don't know much about this, but it's just like a little online community. Apparently Woody Harrelson's dad is like a murderer or something.
I'm sorry, what?
In like real life, and they think it's weird that he would be okay with acting like a murderer, and I'm just like, someone didn't see Natural Born Killers, I guess, but he's done this before.
Oh, right.
And I mean, like,
Someone fact check that for me. I want to be certain. But
My phone is not a phone. Somebody else.
I got it.
Look at Woody Harrelson's dad, crime, murder, whatever. There's something going on. I read a little sub community about that. So I went into the movie thinking like, oh, is he gonna be like this, like, you know, insanely like gross killer, and like they're gonna like give him all this like big treatment? No, he's nasty and everything, but like 90% of the movie is not like them diving into his background or his psyche. It's just like dumb action,
And I loved it.
It's like a wrestling movie. It's like this not serious at all. And it's funny. Yeah.
And like it still is fun if you haven't seen the first one.
And
honestly,
like
we didn't need it.
The intended comedy isn't always funny, but the movie always finds a way to be funny.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that the movie, I don't know. I think this movie has like a good heart to it, you know?
It is much better than the first one. I'll say that like off the bat. Like it's much better than the first one. It's just a lot of fun. But it's not like a great movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not like, you know, high art or anything, but did I love every second of it? Absolutely. Would I go see it again? In a heartbeat. I thought it was fun as fuck, and there's a reason why it's doing so well at the box office right now, because it is a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, people are into like watching, like, you know, okay, so like when I was like a middle schooler, or even like a late elementary school kid, like 5th grade, the coolest things if you were like a cool kid would be like you'd have that bike that looks like a motorcycle, like a chopper.
Hell yeah.
You'd have that bike. You'd love the Punisher, and you'd love Venom and Carnage. And now all those things have been co-opted by the far right, and we're taking it back.
Yeah.
I want the Punisher back.
Hell
the
yeah.
Punisher doesn't like cops. Fuck you.
Correct.
Venom and Carnage eat cops. Fuck you.
Correct.
And you know what? chopper bikes are still cool, and motorcyclists and the police have never gotten along. Why is that a thing now?
Right.
Let's go back to the way it was before.
So yeah, go see Venom in theaters.
Venom
also
Venom is an attack to the far right. Thank you.
Yes, and also you know
Because
what?
they turned that Venom, that like alt-right Venom, into a gay icon in this film.
I was about to say,
love
Venom
that.
is gay as
He does
fuck.
drag.
I'm giving him gay rights. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp gay rights on this one.
Before we get too much further though,
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Circle back.
yeah. So Charles Harrison was
Harrelson, I believe.
Harrelson, I'm sorry. Was convicted of armed robbery in 1960, murder in 1970, murder again in 1973, and murder once more in 1979.
Wow. Holy shit.
He was a hitman.
So
Thrice.
people feel conflicted about Woody Harrelson openly playing something like that, but I think what Franny said about it makes the most sense to me. And I don't know if you remember what you said.
Oh yeah, it's up to Woody.
but it's up to Woody, not anybody else.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's what I was
Right,
gonna say. I mean, if
absolutely.
he feels okay about it, then I mean, who am I to
He's
be
not
like,
a
It's his trauma.
The victims of the families cannot see Woody Harrelson in the same light of what his father did, because he's not
Right.
the one who did it. So if you're saying like the people, the families are upset about it, I'm sorry, that's horrible. But you can't hold Woody Harrelson responsible for what his dad did.
I agree with
Right.
that.
He's his own man.
You
Let
know?
him do what he
And
wants.
also, you said he was a hitman.
He was a hitman, yeah.
I mean, no offense if you've ever had a loved one who got a hit put out on them, but people who get hits put out on them generally
I'd be careful about this
They live
one.
a lifestyle that
I'd be careful about this one.
you would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would
There's
too.
a lot of monetary reasons someone might hire a hitman. Don't forget that too.
That's true. That's true. I take it back.
Or moral reasons, you know.
Right, or it could be
Fair
a
enough.
whole
I'll take it
slew
back,
of
but I
reasons.
agree. I agree that it's up to him and not.
Yeah, it's up to
anybody
Woody.
else.
Yeah, and he already did Natural Born Killers. Like everybody just forgets that he like already did that whole thing. Like he already was a killer. Like,
And I mean, he's played many like violent characters.
And like in this one, he more played a cartoon than anything. Like he wasn't like a serial killer study.
or as you said, like a professional.
Yeah.
like
wrestler.
a professional. They both came off like professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
When they were
have their,
talking,
like-
and one of them was in a cage.
yeah,
bruh.
correct.
And like, oh, but I do want to say one thing though. One of the things I really liked about the movie, even though it was a little campy, maybe a little Tim Burton-y for like my taste, but I thought it was really inspired how he had that animation with the writing from his postcard.
I loved that.
I thought that was an inspired choice, and the thing that like, even though I didn't agree with it, and I don't think it's like the best thing ever, it was still pretty cool. But most importantly, it was something that Venom, the first one, never did. Like there was nothing inspired in that movie. You can say you liked it because you like Eddie Brock and you like Venom and you like their dynamic. That's fine. If you want to watch The Odd Couple to like the extreme, like you can watch the first Venom, but it has no inspiration in it. That was like a cool, like inspired moment that I saw. Like,
like
that somebody really took their time and like crafted something interesting to explain this backstory. And it was probably done to keep the plot quick, but it was really effective. And I wish that there'd be more moments like that in this movie. I think it would really elevate the movie. But the movie was still good.
I think that the animation was very accessible in the way that
It was very Lemony Snicket's. I kind of like
it was.
that.
I liked
Yeah.
it.
Like it feels like something that anybody would be able to do, or not anybody, but many people. And
Well-
like I'm also looking into becoming an animator. Wow,
And a what? A what now?
I'm a little
Inanimate
nervous.
objects.
I guess I got a little nervous because I'm like, oh, this is a part of me that I want people to see, but also I'm like a little
But yeah, Bridget
shy
Bennett
It's
about.
like very like early too.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
early. But I kind of like animation, but I thought it was like really cool that it was like such an accessible style.
I liked
Yeah, it
it
was
because
fun.
it said a lot about the character too, like about Cassidy, like not
His
just,
mindset.
Yeah, not just the actual like what happened in his life, but the like kind of character that he is.
Yeah.
So I like that about it too.
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
think-
I feel, okay, so did you have something else to say? I'm sorry, I
No.
kind of jumped into that. I feel I should say a negative thing, though, about some of these characters. I think that they really fucking fumbled the ball with Shriek.
I agree.
I think that character could have been a lot more than what they did with it. And I'm hoping that the Belle kill, because we didn't see her body like completely destroyed, I hope that means that she might be alive.
I
Yeah, I
kind
agree.
of got that sense that probably she would be, or at least she could be.
But I just don't, like, if they're just going to bring her back in a small, minimal way to, like, keep her killed. Like you're not doing enough with the character for me, and you're asking me to, like, attach some sort of care, you know, like, give a fuck at all about it. And I just didn't care about Shriek anytime she's on screen. I knew that she wasn't going to work out with Carnage because of the screaming thing, and that was like an obvious plot point.
Right. Though I will say this, I didn't know about the whole sound thing. Like, I mean, I knew like the Venom lore and stuff, but I hadn't really thought about it.
It's barely explored in the
that's a
other
thing.
movie.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys think the first movie will give you some context, maybe in like the smallest sense that it will literally show you him getting Venom. But after that, there's no more context. Like, these are these characters. They are this surface level. And that's okay.
So crazy to me.
But that's what it is.
I just assumed there was like a bunch of context that I was missing.
I mean, and like for this movie, I think that they probably intentionally crafted it in such a way that you didn't have to see the first.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
A lot of things are re-explained. Like, the meeting of him and his ex just to tell him that they got engaged.
Right.
That whole scene exists to reintroduce you to that character existing.
Yes.
Because that
Right.
engagement is so frail. Like, he's going to eventually end up with her. Like, you know that from a writer's perspective. They're eventually going to do that. Because so like that whole reintroduction moment was just to be like, this girl exists and they're still estranged from each other, but they both care about each other.
Right.
That's the only reason that scene exists.
Right,
And there's a
absolutely.
couple of those in the movie, and they're so quick. I mean, this movie is fucking
Yeah, it doesn't.
fast.
It's not really a big deal when they happen because it's just like, okay.
Yeah, they just keep it going, dude. I mean, they're just like, they introduce the gas station lady or the convenience store lady just to later be like, here is her in this context.
Yeah.
Like, they really were very specific about the things they kept
They
in this
were
movie.
efficient.
The editing was efficient.
Yeah,
And I-
the editor
and-
needs an award.
The editing was legit quick as fuck.
And I kind of disagree about the extra time that you would like to see tacked on there.
No, I think
I
that
liked the quickness of it. I didn't feel like I needed any more of this than I was getting.
I feel like if they just added 10 minutes and another conversation, it would mean so much more to the wealth of the characters and like the idea of like who they are and the understanding we have as an audience member. Like my idea of Eddie Brock is so baseline.
Right.
And I've seen 2 movies with him now, and I still don't know fucking dick about him other than he likes to report things.
Right. If
you know a little because you know like he had like a shitty dad and like a shitty childhood and all that good stuff.
But not really though. Like you can get that from it with like the little things you get. But what do I know about Eddie Brock now? He's just like a ghost of all his former shit. Like there's nothing relevant to who Eddie is as a person now. Like these adventures have changed him zero. He's the same Eddie Brock you see before he gets with Venom. Then something as life-changing as having a fucking creature living inside of you doesn't change your personality whatsoever, and literally fighting monsters does nothing for that.
I guess probably not having seen the first movie, like I don't have the context for like he is the same person.
Just give us like 10 minutes of something. The thing is you can even make it an action oriented thing, you know? Like you can add 10 minutes and have it be entertaining. It doesn't have to be so like straightforward. It felt like the fast food of action movies. And like that's great and all. And that was a refreshing thing, but I could have used just like a little bit more. Just to make me give a fuck a little bit more.
Like it felt like every single scene was an important plot point.
Yeah.
There's at no point where you can go to the fucking bathroom.
No, I didn't go. I didn't go the whole time.
I also
something
didn't go.
Bridget
I
said
had
too.
to go pee, but I was like, nope, no.
Because everything's so efficiently edited that if you
Right.
miss one scene, you're like, wait, he's out already? Wait, he saw him? Wait, that's the person that gave that guy hearing aids? Is
Right.
that chick? Like, you can miss something just by missing 3 seconds of a scene.
Yeah, like when we left the theater, Bridget was like, there was not a moment of rest.
No.
But I personally really like
sometimes
that
that's great,
film.
but we needed 10 more minutes.
I would agree with
I mean, we're
Logan on
talking,
this.
how long is the movie? An hour 38?
I think it's
something like
yeah.
that. I think
I mean,
That's
like, you gotta think how much
that's so
credits,
short,
too.
dude.
See, I love that. Get me in and out 90 minutes.
No, I
love that.
I
shit.
like that too, but we're talking about the second film in a franchise in which we have not learned who the main character is yet.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe I would feel a little differently if I had seen like the first Venom. I would
think you
want a little
probably
bit
would've.
more like growth there. But
I think you wouldn't have liked the second one, actually. Like, I think if you had seen the first one, you would have never agreed to see the second one because of how much you'll dislike the first one.
I'm gonna watch it and I'll report back. I will see what happens.
It's just
But-
like total shit origin story. Too fast, terrible, like just terrible. Space Elon Musk is in it. It's bad.
oh lord.
Oh wait, what now? I'm sorry,
It's like
Space Elon
Space
Musk.
Elon Musk. It's a whole thing.
But
he's Elon Musk, and then there's a symbiote added to his DNA, so now he's space Elon Musk.
Nice.
Which is what Elon Musk is trying to accomplish right now.
Right.
Yeah, like, I was
Minus Grimes.
That's what their kid is gonna be.
Grimes, if you're free.
Did you see the
Wait, minus Grimes.
Yeah, they broke up. And did you see the photo
Of her
that
with the
popped up?
Communist
Yeah,
Manifesto?
it's like
Yeah,
I saw a
Then she goes,
TikTok.
I'm not a communist. I'm like, then why are you reading the Communist
I
Manifesto?
saw a TikTok
Oh,
that was like,
shit, that's
she's
what
not.
that was about.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok that was like, she's not actually reading it. She's just walking around thinking, I'm a vibe. I'm a vibe. I'm a vibe.
I hate Grimes. But yeah, no, I really liked the pace of it, and I thought that I think that what this movie did really well was it relied on that odd couple thing between the two of them.
Yeah.
I think that that's what this movie
The
needed
best
to do.
scenes were them in the apartment. Just
I loved
hanging.
their apartment fight scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really fun.
It's way less fun in the first one. It tries to be, but it's not as fun.
Well, I like
it
how
just
you can
isn't.
see they have their little routines together, like them
Yeah.
making breakfast in the morning and him making him ridiculous
It's really cute and
pancakes.
wholesome.
Yeah.
It really is.
But at the same time,
Like-
you have to consider that Venom's also kind of ruining Eddie's life, right? That is something you
Yeah,
have to
the
acknowledge
state of
as
his
a character.
apartment.
I mean, what is love if not something that ruins your life a little?
No, not at all. Nothing.
What, Madison?
No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying I don't know.
chaos.
I don't know. Just love is chaos, and that happens sometimes. And sometimes people are fucking crazy, but
I don't know,
There
but
you have it.
then there's the whole, if you make it that literal, there's the whole issue of consent with Eddie, right? Because Venom definitely just jumped inside of his body without asking him.
But he could definitely
Right.
get him out and keep him out if he wanted to. What do you mean? He made him leave his body in the film.
No. Venom left on his own.
Yeah,
he was
he
so
got
angry.
mad.
His feelings were so hurt.
No, he turned on the fire alarm.
Oh,
yeah,
to
that's right.
spook him.
But he can't stop him from coming back inside.
That's
Yeah.
true.
He can't stop him. I've seen it happen. That's the whole first movie.
Fair enough. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I
No,
like
I'm
the-
just
Yeah,
kidding.
so
Love
may-
doesn't ruin your life, but I love it a little bit.
I want to get.
I like dysfunction. You know,
Is that not concerning to anyone else?
Oh my
I think,
God,
I
I
think
was
if you
just
combine
joking.
this with the Edward talk and our new moon video, people are gonna make a fun compilation. That's all I gotta say.
of Madison just loving toxic relationships in film.
I do. I love dysfunction in film. I think it's great. I love when people just can't fucking get along for shit, but they love each other anyway.
Yeah,
But no, Bridget, your love has not ruined my life.
Thank you.
this movie is. I want to get the sign that he has in his apartment where it says rules, no eating people.
I love it.
I love that. I love how sloppily made it is too.
Yeah, their little dynamics are just cute. I don't know.
It's
it was
adorable.
a fun
It's
part of the
real
movie.
fucking couple, dude.
It was a part of the movie I was not
No,
expecting.
that's the whole thing. Is they're totally the odd couple, but that's the thing with these superhero movies now. They're just, you can't just make it superhero secret origin story, fights villain, end of movie. You have to start doing things like basically Shazam is Tom Hanks' big, right? That's what the movie is. It's just Tom Hanks is big, but add a superhero. Or Ant-Man is the bank heist Ocean's 11 movie, but it's with a guy who can turn into an ant, or the size of an ant.
And I mean those
And
movies.
then Venom is this
Yeah.
toxic couple, but they share one body. That's what it is, and it's
Right.
so strange.
And I
but
love it.
But that's
But it
a part of the
works.
appeal with it. It is not formulaic. It's just a little shallow. I just want a little bit more depth. I feel like it's just a little shallow, but at the same time, that is what makes these super easily digestible movies. So
Yeah.
I guess it's really a matter of taste. If I could decide to make the Venom story deeper, I think I would. But I'm not displeased with what I'm getting because it's entertaining. It's really entertaining.
I think that I would be content to keep it as because I think that sometimes I think with our superhero movie landscape today, they're all so much. It's trying to do so much, build a fucking world or be Taxi Driver.
It's not
or,
that I don't want a lighthearted superhero movie. It's that I want it to stay true to the character.
Well,
and
yeah.
the character of Venom is a malicious cannibal
Yeah.
turned
correct.
anti-hero. So I just get a little annoyed that it feels like the Spider-Man lore is deeper than the Venom lore right now, when Venom is such a darker story But they're telling it so much more flippantly, like it's nothing. They tell it like it's Peppa Pig. They just like let it roll off the tongue.
It feels very like Deadpool.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I like that about it though. Like I like the like.
It's not that I don't like
flippancy
it. It's that it's not what the source material is. So I understand why there's people who don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I
and
get
then
that.
I understand why there's people who like fucking love it, who are like totally people who watch like Raw and shit and are like, this is the fucking
I
best.
feel like
I get that too.
I feel like it's probably one of those
I used
things.
to love fucking Raw.
And you're like, I love the dynamic of this wrestler movie.
Yeah.
Where they're literally talking shit to each other. They're smacking each other around, hitting each other with chairs.
Like
and
it sounds
shit.
like a video
And
game.
they both have these like personas, you know, these like larger than life personas. It's very much wrestling.
I mean, the way Cletus walks out with his like weird red velour suit, you know?
I love that.
And then he's fighting Eddie Brock, who's like dressed up like a sweaty weirdo reporter, and they both turn into like these giant monsters. Is so wrestling, it's ridiculous.
And then they're like
Absolutely.
slamming each other around and like
the fanfic must be so
Dude,
fucking
the moment when they're both falling to their death, right?
yeah,
And then Venom shoots through everybody's arms to catch him.
that was dope.
That was insane, and that only happens in wrestling.
That was
Shit
cool
like
as
that
fuck.
only happens in
It
wrestling.
literally felt like I was watching Money in the Bank. You remember Money in the Bank?
Yeah, I do.
Like an event.
It felt like an event.
It was an event to watch Money in the Bank. You had to get it on pay-per-view and shit.
But like also like this felt like an event in its own right. Like it really did.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was. Yeah, the fanfic is crazy.
And like Shriek is like the
I
hot
can
wrestling
attest.
chick that gets like knocked out by the referee.
Yeah.
and then it just gets gay. Yeah, tell me about the fanfic.
Yeah, well,
Oh
we
my
have
God.
to like talk about how gay this movie is. I want to like get
And
into
then
it for
at
a
the very
second.
end, we'll
Yeah.
talk about the mid-credit scene and everything, which is I
Yeah.
know what people are actually here to listen for.
But we'll get there because this is important.
Yeah.
So like so I remember when the first Venom movie came out. I did not see it. I like haven't seen it at all. But I remember when this movie came out because, as you probably know from listening to this podcast, if you ever have before, I was on Tumblr. So like I remember when this movie came out on Tumblr and everybody was like, you know, like the monster fuckers and all of us were really coming out. Like, you know, like this is a thing. This is the thing that's happening. And honestly, if you're telling me Venom isn't daddy, you're fucking lying. I don't want to hear it.
You know,
I don't want to hear any talk of that.
Can I tell you my critique of Venom?
Yeah, sure.
I love what he says and I love his commentary, but sometimes when he's talking, I can't always understand what he's saying.
Fair enough.
And it'll just sound like he's like goo goo gaga bee bee boo boo, and I'm
It
like,
is
what
a
did he
little like
say?
that sometimes.
And the whole audience laughs. He's like boo bee 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 bop boo boo boo, and I'm still like, what the fuck is he saying? And why is everybody laughing?
He just gives me like drag queen energy.
Very much,
you know?
yeah. But anyway, so like Tumblr was like very obsessed with this like whole idea of like they call it Simbrock, which is I hate.
That's horrendous.
Yeah, it's bad. But
That's a terrible
a
shit
bad
name.
It
Bad
also
name.
it also
Don't do
implies that it might be simp related, and it's I don't think it necessarily
Well,
is.
no, it's like a play on symbiote,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know, which is really weird to sexualize a symbiote. It's creepy. I'm scared.
But yeah, so like this movie actually like
That's
Venom, the first Venom, the one that came out in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
kind of got like a second wind almost because of this like shipping community around
It was huge at the box office, but weirdly enough, it started going up on weekends, which is weird.
Right, because
The Zootopia effect.
right, because there's this like whole thing about it. And so
It's called the Zootopia effect.
yeah, and so now
Yeah.
like the
Furries
second
love
movie,
that.
yeah,
Furries lifted up the box office of
Yeah.
Zootopia in
Correct.
its following weeks, and there's movies that completely get relived on Reddit, like that weird Will Smith movie where he played his younger self. People
Oh,
thought it was
yeah,
such
yeah.
a meme that it was going up in views
Right.
towards the end of its box office run, which is crazy, and that's kind of what happened with the first Venom.
yeah, and like I mean, yeah, the gay monster fuckers out there, we all banded together and we're like we're gonna go see Venom,
Except for you.
not me, which is crazy because you know. But anyway, what was I saying? But anyway, so like. But that happening really shaped what the second movie came out to be. And I think that they really like leaned into it in a way that they didn't lean into it in the first one. And like in the second movie, I feel like they go all out. I mean, there's literally, spoilers for the end of the movie, a fucking love confession on a sunset beach. Like that's gay. Like you can't tell me it isn't. And like the whole coming out scene where he's in like San Francisco and he's at a rave and he's like, I'm coming out of the Eddie closet, a line from the film. You can't tell me that it's not. It's gay. And you know what? Sometimes that's what love is. It's just a man and his parasitic alien who also lives in his body.
But how are you going to feel if Eddie starts a relationship with somebody else?
Venom's like down for it though.
Thruple.
Venom is definitely down for it.
Is Venom then like jumping inside? Like, you know, is it like a, you know what I mean? I'm actually asking that question.
Eddie and Venom
like, would Venom ever jump into the chick as well? Is that like a thing?
I think it's sexual with the
because it enriches their connection with those people. That's why Venom and that one lady gets along. Because in the first movie, he jumped into that old lady, and so she's all like, "What's up?" People like kind of like get like Venom fever after getting Venom in a way. I mean, they don't expressly say it, but they do.
That kind of happened with Annie too, as well.
Yeah,
like. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I guess that could happen.
So then comes my question. If he got in a serious relationship with somebody, would he be jumping inside of her? Is she cool with that? How do you talk about that? How do you bring up that conversation? Hey, I have this buddy, Venom. He might jump inside of your entire body during coitus. Sorry.
I think just like that, you know?
Well, the one girl.
I mean, because
the one girl like has had him in his her body.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, it's like anybody who has a weird sex thing, you know?
It's not like that. If somebody told you that they have a moving parasite that'll move from them to you during sex, you're going to have a reaction, Madison.
I'd be like, I don't think I'm okay with that. But then presumably that person would be like, well, do you want to meet him first? And then I'll meet him and be like, oh, okay. All right. Well, that's
this is coming from the ghost fucker after all. So I don't think we can.
You all know this about me. I've very clearly.
She's shameless. That's what we know. She's shameless.
Yeah, no. Venom fan fiction is crazy. It is a crazy, crazy world.
Didn't you say it's a lot of tentacles?
I mean, it has to be.
I mean, he has tentacles.
I mean, that's like the whole thing of it. And honestly, like from what I was perusing because I was really bored at work today. Yeah. I was like curious. I was morbidly curious, and honestly, the tentacles are not the worst part. It really isn't. It's like it goes far beyond tentacles in a way that is indescribable.
So back to the movie.
Oh, fuck.
She just punched the microphone.
No, I hit it with my foot. But yeah, Venom is a gay rom-com. And if you go in thinking that it's a gay rom-com, then you're going to have a really good time.
Then you might be disappointed by every scene without them.
Also, you should go in stoned. It's much better that way.
In the Matrix?
I wouldn't know. Well, in the Matrix. You should go in the Matrix. You should enter the Matrix and then you should watch the movie. Because I know I was in the Matrix and Bridget was not, and I had a much better time than Bridget did.
I still enjoyed it.
But Bridget still seemed kind of giddy about it when she came over.
No, yeah, I think also my like excitement for it. But yeah, I just had so much fun watching this movie. I cannot express enough how much like I just enjoyed the experience of watching it.
I love that you guys loved it. That's so funny.
It was so good. It was fun.
It's fun.
It was fun.
I also appreciated the efficiency of it.
To call it like a good movie, I don't know. We might be stretching it just a little bit. I don't think it's like, it's not in like above a 6 for me for sure. Like it can't go that high because of just how it's been made and what it is.
I don't know. I mean, I think when I rate movies, it's not necessarily in comparison to other movies, but it's also more about what they're trying to be.
And sometimes it's in grades, and sometimes it's in numbers.
And but I think that this movie, I've switched to numbers now just for the sake of keeping with the group.
But to be fair, though, we never pressured her. Though.
No.
I was always willing to let her keep her dumb fucking letters, but she decided to stop.
I think the letters make sense for the way that I view
it. She unsubscribed to Chris Stuckman. She stopped doing the letters, and we all moved on.
Well, I think the letters still are a good way to like think about it, and it's still the way that I think about it. But I think it makes more sense for us as a foursome if we all do it the same way.
Because then people put our collaborative score together, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so like thinking about this movie in terms of what it's trying to do and what it's trying to be, I think that it does a good job of what it's trying to do. I think it succeeds in being a fun action movie with a good heart to it and some comedy as well. And that's how I feel about it. And I think that shit. Fuck, I lost it.
Were you gonna say that Tumblr really influenced it?
I said that already, but yeah. I just heard Play-Doh like squish. It was crazy.
You don't squish any Play-Doh in the
That's
mic.
what Venom sounds like.
Was that me?
Yeah. I guess it had to have been you.
I'm the only one with Play-Doh.
Was that me? Smacking her Play-Doh in her hands.
But yeah, I think the action was well done too. I liked that for it. I thought that,
yeah. I mean, especially like the scene where he was like helping Shriek escape and like all those explosions in the car and stuff. That was a lot of fun. I still don't think like it was necessarily the best action. I feel like a lot of things were like all in CG, and that's kind of the characters, but I would have liked some not like digital explosions. You know what I mean? Like all of it was digital. I could have used some sort of like real effects on the movie.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
I get why a lot of it was digital to make it look more realistic with them in screen with each other.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, do I necessarily think that this is like a great movie or even a good movie in the sense of like is it high art? Not really. Is it, you know, in the canon of films that we consider to be like cultural touchstones? Obviously it's not. I mean, debatable. I mean, it is for,
if we're being honest,
it
just hit 92 million.
Yeah, but well, I mean, in terms
North
of
American box
of
office,
like the content, you know, I mean, it's not like, you know, one of those.
Well, that's the thing about like films that become like indignant of our culture. It's never the ones you think it's going to be.
That's true.
You know, like Back to the Future, nobody ever thought that would become such like a staple in film culture. I feel like Venom totally has that capability, but in my opinion, not for any reasons of it being good, but in reasons of it being like totally digestible and made to like appeal to the largest audience possible.
I could actually see Venom becoming like a cult favorite, and like,
it's so funny that it's just like
the
it's so funny that it's just like the gay alien movie that's going to become that.
Yeah, as well it should.
I mean, but I think that if you look at it as a whole of like what movies are coming out now, it's not indicative of what a good movie is right now.
Yeah,
like film is fucking incredible right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, is it like necessarily the most technically well done film? Is it like high art in the sense that we think about films as like being high art, that we think about them being like, you know, real like self-defined pieces of work? Like, no, it isn't that. It's not like it's not something that you see and you're like, oh my god, that affected me emotionally, and like it kind of changes the way that I understand the world now, as some films can do. But is this good for what it's trying to do? Is it good for being, like you said, a fucking wrestling match? For being gay? Is it like must a movie be good? Is it not enough to have Tom Hardy and his gay alien boyfriend? Like, that's enough for me, and that can be enough for you if you let it. And that's my pitch for Venom.
I am.
You should go see it.
The part that annoys me is spoilers again. Spoilers. Obviously, we're so deep at this point. But the death of Carnage, to me, I would have really enjoyed if in some way that the complication between them could have ended and Carnage could have lived. Because he's just such an interesting character in the Venom lore and such a large part of who Venom is, that to kill him off in his first appearance in the films is kind of shit. To be real.
With like no backstory. I assumed he was like a big part of the first one, but
Carnage is brutal. Like, Carnage murders people for fun. That is his thing. Whereas Venom's an anti-hero. He thinks he's a good guy because basically he was so popular, the people writing the comics like, we have to make him a good guy. So they started writing him as like this anti-hero who goes out and he eats bad people, Dexter style. Like, that's what he does. And he's
Spoilers for Dexter.
I mean, Dexter kills people.
I know, I was just kidding.
Kills people who are supposedly bad. And that's what Venom does. But Carnage is like this whole other element where like he'll kill because he's had a bad day. Like, he'll kill over the smallest things, and he's too strong for Venom to totally like vanquish. So he's always around. That would have been so much more interesting and world building for the universe than just killing him off right away.
Yeah, especially since he's supposed to be so much stronger than him too.
Yeah,
I mean, Venom even goes, oh fuck, it's a red one, and like in his alien hierarchy, you know, it goes white, red, blue, black. Yeah. Like you know that from the comics. I don't know if they ever said it specifically in any of the movies.
Oh, so he's like the bottom?
He's like the bottom, and the thing is, like, a black one can eventually turn like blue based on like, you know, eating so much and like experiencing so much and shit. So I think eventually what they'll do is they'll make him like a dark blue. Mm-hmm. But like the white is like the top tier, and then the middle tier is like the red.
Yeah. And like, god damn, my fucking train of thought is like just not even at the station.
Choo choo.
Wait, but yeah, I would have liked to see more from Carnage, and
that's a part of what I mean. Like, could we have at least gotten 10 more minutes of like, could we get a middle fight?
I thought it was really interesting.
Can we get a Carnage against like, you know, like, could we get another scene where like Carnage is being stopped by like the military or something? Give us another 10 minutes of action at least. The movie is so quick. It could literally add something and you wouldn't even feel it.
Well, they also talked about how Carnage isn't symbiotic or whatever, and like we didn't get
it's
like
not a match.
Yeah, it's not a match, and like that would have been cool to like explore, you know, like have him like getting all sick and shit from it.
Mm-hmm. Like, what I would have done as a writer, just because they were doing so many liberties, is just make Shriek compatible with that symbiote and have her be like a double kind of hybrid dealio. Like that would have been a cool thing to do.
That would be a cool concept.
If you're already gonna like throw away the character, essentially, just do something cool with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you're adding new shit, add new interesting shit.
I don't know. I think that like similar to with Shriek, there is a chance that maybe we could see Carnage again. I don't think that that's necessarily out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, he ate him.
That's true.
That's true. I don't think he's gonna shit him out or anything.
No.
Well, there might be others. Like
Well,
something, like something more.
All it's
akin
gonna
to it, I
do
guess.
canonically is makes Venom stronger in some way, because that's how it works when they, ingest others.
That's true. That's a good point. I forgot he got eaten. I thought he got like burned or something.
No, he got eaten, and then he ate.
That's my mistake.
He ate him first because he separated them, and then he ate his head and said, "Fuck that guy."
Yeah, that was great. It was a good moment. But yeah, I did kind of like. I thought the aspect of it that was really interesting was like you were talking about, Franny, about like how they're not a match and like that Venom was able to somehow overcome it because they were a match, which I'm like, interesting. Say more about that. I would like to know a little bit more about that maybe.
Yeah, like that's cool stuff. That's cool world building that we're not getting. Fair, yeah, that feels
Soulmates,
gay.
dude.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot that Cletus Lilly wasn't the soulmate, because his soulmate, in a sense, was a complete opposite of what Carnage was.
Right, with Shriek, yeah.
So you always knew that it was destined to be fucked up in some way. You always knew something was going to happen with that, because
Right, it wasn't going to work out.
this girl uses this as her self-defense in all situations. It's going to come
Yeah.
up where she does it again.
Right.
And that dude would get so mad. He's like, she does it again, I'm going to fucking kill her. I'm like, dude, you need to calm down.
Right.
So I don't understand like the transferring of Carnage. Is Carnage something separate from Venom, or is he like a child of Venom?
He's a child of Venom. He was a part of Venom that was digested by this dude and like into his bloodstream. So he's like a mixture of like this dude and that small bit of like Venom that
Like,
got away.
how would he be born into something big, like more scary?
Because
than...
he's separated from him. He was a whole different. They're asexual, so he's like a whole different
Yeah.
And
organism,
like reproduce
separated
just
from
by
Venom.
separating.
It's like
So-
when a
And he
worm
grew
gets-
inside of his body.
So he was like a parasite that grew into its own separate,
because
thing?
Cletus was the stronger strain, I guess you could say, of human or
yeah.
whatever. His symbiote was much scarier.
That makes sense now. Okay.
Yeah, it was just like
So did Venom grow from Eddie?
No, he was already an existing parasite.
Oh yeah, because he had that moment with him where he was like, "I could show you all my lifetimes of blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm. This was like one totally new and born, because it was separate. Like
Yeah.
the Venom, these symbiotes, all of their material always comes back together, and this blood went inside this dude's body, so it didn't come back to Eddie. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a separate piece of
it's
him.
like an asexual reproduction.
Yeah.
of
Right.
The symbiote. Which,
Yeah.
Which then mixed with what's his name's Cletus's like.
Because the
bad
symbiote was no
energies.
longer a part of Venom, so it's like clinging to create or
Yeah.
attach to something.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense now. I was very
Science.
confused.
It's sort of like when you cut a worm, like cut a part off a worm and it still lives.
Gross.
I didn't. Wow.
Hello.
Was that weird?
No, it was just a funny metaphor.
Just
I
a
just
really
like
weird
bugs.
metaphor.
Fuck. I don't know.
And
I
cutting
just
them
like
into pieces.
bugs.
No, I don't like cutting them to pieces. That's mean.
Then how'd you find that out?
Because it's a scientific fact.
Okay, it's a scientific fact.
She moved her glasses up anime style as she said that. It's a scientific fact.
Actually,
Actually. Yeah.
that's funny.
Okay, we need to wrap this up soon. All right, let's talk about the mid. Well, actually, let's all rate it, and then we'll talk about the mid-credit scene.
Okay, cool.
Franny, you go first.
I'm gonna give this a 6.5. I thought it was fun, but I mean, I was very confused for a part of it, and I felt like I was missing context, and turns out I wasn't.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 5.
I'm gonna rate like
A fun 5.
a fun 5.
Yeah.
A fun 5.
A high 5.
I'm gonna
Hey.
rate the experience like a 10 out of 10, just because. Well, yeah, a 10 out of 10 because it was fun. It was quick.
And she
but-
had me in her ear being like, they made Venom gay the entire movie.
the entire movie. And then like actual movie, I'm gonna say it's probably like a 5 out of 10. I would agree with that. Like, I don't know, it's just like the quickness of the plot was so it just made it really hard to attach to people.
It's like just nothing in a way.
Yeah.
It's kind of empty in a way.
It's really kind of a
I get
shell
that.
of a movie in a way.
Exactly. It's like the most bare bones.
And like I had a great time, but I just didn't. The story just didn't like shine through. Like
It's
I
like
wanted.
watching
was
Hell's
definitely-
Kitchen. You know, it's
Yeah.
just entertainment, guys. This like there's no depth. It's just fun.
Well, even on Hell's Kitchen, you get more.
You get some
people's
more depth, but at the
backstory.
same time, it's like it's all fake anyway. So like,
Fair enough.
You know,
And like it was definitely the first thing you said, Bridget, when we left the theater was like, that was fast.
Yeah, I mean that
Fast
just
as
like
fuck, boy.
I had a great time, but it did factor
don't reference
in.
Keemstar on
Oh,
this
you're
podcast.
right. You're right. Fuck Keemstar though.
Ugh.
Fuck Keemstar.
Fuck Keemstar.
His name backwards is Meek Rats
Yes.
because that's what he is, a meek rat.
He is a meek rat.
I would give Venom an 8 out of 10. Fuck all of y'all.
Wow, an 8 out of 10.
I think for what it's trying to be
That's
and
insane.
the level to which I enjoyed it gives it an 8 out of 10 for me.
I love that.
I don't think it's trying to be any deeper than it is. I think that
There's times though where it does try to be deeper than it is, though.
Yeah, like the
I don't know.
animation part felt like it was trying to be
Exactly,
A
that's
that
what
was
I mean,
something
and
that
that's
felt
something I
like it was
liked
trying
about
to
it.
be deeper.
I think that it does try to take itself seriously sometimes. I do think that.
I think it has
Especially, maybe more so the first one, and maybe that's why you're saying that. But there's elements in this too where it takes itself pretty seriously.
I don't know. I never got that sense from it. I always got the sense that it was just like, we're just having fun. And I think that where it actually and it succeeds its best where it's just like having fun, and those moments of depth sometimes feel a little bit like dissonant, and so that's I think that's like an issue for y'all, and I understand that, if that makes sense.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like those moments where it does take itself seriously, it makes me feel like it's taking itself a little too seriously, and I'm like, it's Venom, let's go, come on.
So you do feel like it does take itself seriously sometimes.
I mean I think it has its
Didn't you just say you didn't think that though?
I meant on the whole.
I think that there are moments in the movie where it tries to take itself seriously, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Because you're not serious at all.
But you want it to be more serious. But
If I could choose to have a better Venom, I would. But if you're just gonna give us dumb entertainment, give me like a fight scene where he's fighting the army, or give us like a character backstory to enrich the universe. I know we're not gonna get like high art from this, but sometimes it does take itself seriously, like it wants to do that, and I don't think it can.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say like it never does it, but I think that in general, it's not trying to take itself too seriously. And when it just lets itself be what it is, I think that's where it's the most fun. And I had a lot of fun watching it. And like,
I think in some ways it takes itself too seriously, and that might be like why I don't like those moments where it tries to do that for the movie, but.
yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it as being something that takes itself super serious.
I don't know. I think you should like. I think you
should.
should look into like how Andy Serkis tackled the movie and stuff, and know that like there were definitely things that he was trying to like make epic and shit when he was directing it, and I just don't think it was ever that. I think it was just always like fun, dumb entertainment.
But I mean, I think it succeeds very well in being that. And
Yeah,
so
but
that's why
I argue that
highly.
that wasn't its only intention. Is my argument.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that that's probably its primary intention was to
be fun, yeah,
be fun,
definitely.
and to like please crowds. And I think that it succeeds at what it's trying to do. And I think like that the product,
But
that it
mid
is-
credit scene.
yeah,
Let's get there.
yeah. But I think the product that it is good. That's what I'm trying to say. Is
She
like,
gave it an 8 out of 10. We
8
got
out of
it.
10.
6 or 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 and 6.5 out of 10. All right, mid-credit scene. Okay, so as you know, the MCU has been fighting for like to get any kind of Spider-Man stuff in their cinematic universe. They eventually got Spider-Man with Civil War back in the day, but the film rights to Spider-Man and Spider-Man characters is owned by the film company Sony. They bought the rights to Spider-Man back in the early 2000s, like I think it was the late 90s. And then they eventually made like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans and then the Andrew Garfield ones. But they own the film rights as long as they make a couple of movies, or as long as they make a movie every couple of years that has something to do with the Spider-Man universe, they keep those rights. So they've been basically holding on to it, hate fucking, Marvel with it for so long. Eventually, Marvel gets Spider-Man with Civil War. And then Sony goes, well, Spider-Man makes so much money, we won't use him for our cinematic universe as a deal with Marvel, but we're going to start our own Spider-Verse where we have these Venom movies exist and Morbius and shit like that. Well, the end credits of this movie show that Venom and all these characters are entering into the MCU, which is insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. God, I keep hitting that fucking mic stand. I don't know. Do you think that it necessarily means that we're going to see like a true crossover of
No.
universes?
But I think that these universes are going to be split and melded for a while because they're hiring alternate actors to play certain characters. Like, for instance, Jane's going to play a multiverse Thor, right? Like the girl who played Jane, Natalie Portman, right?
Yeah.
She's going to be playing Thor. There's talks that Tom Cruise is going to be playing an Iron Man.
Love it.
There's a bunch of people being hired to play these alternate universe parts. And also, if you watch Loki, I won't get into any spoilers because Franny still...
I know, I'm the worst.
She reviewed the show and she still hasn't seen the ending.
I haven't seen a single episode.
But just to say that
I need to catch up
the
on
multiverse of madness is totally a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's multiple universes
I mean, this also gives
in
you
existence.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking this is going to be.
But my point
like,
being is that means that we don't know how much the Sony Marvel stuff's going to cross over.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see because now the big thing about it is now we know that it can. And it's
going to.
Right,
Yeah.
it will in some way.
And Spider-Man
crossover.
comes out in like what, November, December? Like, it's so soon.
Yeah.
And we're gonna end like the video that like connected the universes. First of all, at first you're thinking that Venom's about to show him all these lifetimes, and that's why the screen changes. But then what you realize is, if you've seen the Doctor Strange trailer, he pulls all versions of Spider-Man away from existence. But he fucks it up, and he brings all versions of Spider-Man into their existence. I think that's the understanding from the trailer. It could be more than that. But we eventually see Venom in a new hotel room, like that looks very similar, and they're watching Spider-Man on TV at the very moment where J. Jonah Jameson is revealing that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Insane.
And he
Yeah,
licks
it's
the
crazy.
TV.
Yeah.
And he's crazy. And here's the thing: he's eventually Venom's gonna attach to Spider-Man for a bit, and he's gonna get that spider web on his chest, like all the fans are begging him to. And he's gonna be able to shoot webs and have all the extra powers he's supposed to have. They're totally gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's 100% gonna happen. But my question is that interaction gonna be the weirdest moment in like film history? Watching Tom Hardy approach Tom Holland and then have a giant piece of goo slide inside of him. Like,
right,
that's
like
insane.
that's my boyfriend, bitch.
That's insane.
Like that's like Tom Hardy's like that's my man
There's-
to a 16-year-old.
Starts punching him in the face.
There's definitely going to be a fan fiction about that
it's gonna
one.
pop off.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
I think it'll be interesting to see how they come to intersect, and I wonder if even in the new Spider-Man movie that's going to be out, if that we'll see that happen.
Do you guys
Because
ever?
it seemed to be like a tie-in very much to the trailer that we saw right before this movie, which was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
So I wonder if that's going to like come to play in the movie coming out, or if maybe if it's just like
I think it's gonna 100% be in the Spider-Man movie coming out.
Yeah.
Because recently there was a photo that leaked of Tom Hardy in a Spider-Man No Way Home hat that he got from set. A director posted on Instagram without even thinking and outed it to everybody.
Wow.
I love when that shit happens.
So bad, dude. So bad.
It wasn't Tom Holland this
But he,
time.
but he,
I know it's always
but he played it so well, people believed him. He's like these companies hate each other. They would never do that. Like, understand that they're taking back Spider-Man after like one or two more movies, and he's entering our universe. Like, but we're not going to be involved in the MCU. And then as soon as like that movie ends, it's like, oh, Tom Hardy lied, and everybody's like clowning on him on the internet, and he's like, yeah, I lied.
He's like, yeah, I had to.
I lied for the good of the movie. Okay.
Which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I know.
I love how much Tom Hardy loves Venom.
It's awesome.
I think it's great.
It's great.
It's exactly what it needs.
And what's crazy is, we were talking about Upgrade. He was offered the part of Upgrade, but couldn't take it because it was too close in like concept that the studio like said you can't be in the film.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Damn.
But how good is Upgrade, and how much better would it be if it was Tom Hardy though?
That would be great.
I know.
Upgrade is really good.
Upgrade's great. Yeah, totally like the same idea, but taken to a way different extreme.
Yeah, on a different level.
Anyway, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it on Venom. I say go watch it.
Yep. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back with Malignant. Hey guys, Big Night In by CL Blue is out now on all streaming platforms. You can check it out in the description as well. Thanks, guys. So Basket Case, I mean Malignant.
Yeah, I didn't know this was based off something.
I don't think it was necessarily based off of it, but clearly inspired. There's an old horror movie from the 80s called Basket Case, and it's about a guy who has a growth on its back that eventually breaks free and becomes a serial killer.
What the fuck? I'm sorry, what?
But in a lot of the shots and a lot of the weirder ideas displayed in this movie are clearly inspired by Basket Case, baby, and don't think I don't see it. And that's the way I figured out where the movie was going to go, because I didn't know any spoilers. So spoilers, guys, we're going to talk about spoilers of the movie. So if you know
spoilers all over the place.
Spoilers all over the place.
I feel like this is a big spoiler.
This is a big one.
This movie
the trailer criminally is nothing like this film. I mean, the trailer will give you 0% of what the movie's about.
Thank you. I hate when a trailer gives you too much. Like, leave some surprise.
But in this way, I think you kind of got to warn people that they're not going to go see The Conjuring. They're going to go see Malignant.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? They need to know.
Switch.
You know, there's parts of this movie that are shot like a bad cop show. There's parts of this movie that are shot like a total nightmare, Rob Zombie level shit.
Yeah, this movie
absolutely.
like is really one of my like problems with it is like it can't quite find its tone.
Totally inconsistent as fuck.
And like
But it almost feels like it's trying to be that way. Like, it feels intentional. It feels like he's trying to pull an old Wes Anderson and go against the rules, but it doesn't work. It just makes your cop characters like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally scenes where it feels like NCIS because they're like introducing like, oh, this woman who works on the computer, she's quirky, and like this, that, and the other.
Right, and it's like, what do I care?
This is a rogue police officer, and like they're introducing it like we're watching Criminal Minds.
Right.
And then it pans out to be nothing in the whole of the film.
Yeah, none of them matter.
So that felt almost intentional. I think that this movie is very successful at being camp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is you have to tell people it's going to be camp. I think that it has to be known.
I had the same experience that Madison had with Venom with this movie. I thought this movie was so fucking fun and so great, and I love that it subverted my expectations.
I agree. I had a lot of fun watching this movie.
Right.
I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the campiness of it.
But to be on Front Street, though, you guys knew the ending. We didn't. And I think that drastically changes the experience of this movie.
No, I completely agree, Logan. I feel like if I had not known at all what this was going in,
it'd be so much scarier.
I would shat myself. I don't know.
It's so much scarier when you don't know the secret, when you don't know what it is.
Definitely. I remember like halfway through, Logan paused and was like, I think I know what this is.
I was like, I've seen Basket Case.
But it can't be. It can't be what I think it is, because what I think it is ridiculous.
And then it was that thing. It literally was it.
That's
the
crazy.
moment I knew was when I saw the hair, like when I saw the person stabbing, but their arm was reversed. I'm like, that's the back of someone's body. That's the back of that chick's head. Like that's the front of that chick's head with hair in her face. There's a person on the back of her head.
Correct.
And I was like, I got this movie's fucking number, bitch.
That's insane. That's so fucking funny.
I was actually texting a coworker while they were like watching this movie for the first time, and she was like, why does it look like that person's like stabbing behind them or like from behind? And I was like, just wait.
Yeah, this movie got spoiled for me just by the internet in general.
I mean, it
was all over.
It blew up.
Because everybody thinks it's ridiculous and so fun.
And there's a lot of people who really hate it, who thought they were going in for Conjuring 5 and instead got...
Well, I think it's ridiculous and so fun.
Yeah, I've heard like really mixed.
I was also in Minecraft for this, I have to say.
You got to be in Minecraft for this
The
one.
Matrix.
You
have to.
That would be so fun.
I
wasn't.
Nope. We watched it at my parents' house actually.
Wow.
So yeah, no.
What was the consensus? Did everybody like it?
Just the two of us watched it.
Yeah,
we were just
nobody
there.
else would watch it with us.
We offered to people and they were like, no. We're like, okay.
Like, we got to do this, so see you in the other room, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, I got this spoiled for me just by the internet in general, and I do wish that I could somehow retroactively experience this movie,
totally
not knowing
experience.
what I know. But I'll never get that. But for knowing it, it was a lot of fun to watch.
It's entertaining as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like something that I wrote down in my notes. Hold on, let me pull up my actual notes for this, and so I can give you.
We watched this one on HBO.
Yeah, and I just kind of wanted to compare it to what I was expecting. So I watched The Devil Made Me Do It, The Conjuring 3, whatever, on HBO Max. And then I watched this on HBO Max. And they kind of existed in the world as the same thing to me in the sense that I saw a trailer before I knew it was on HBO and I clicked on it and watched it. But two totally different fucking experiences where I feel like this movie is so much better than its marketing.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of a product of its marketing where this is a movie that could really like become a cult classic at home versus being big in theaters. I don't think it ever has the chance to be like no matter what trailer they used, there wasn't going to be a large group of people if they knew what this movie was that'd go see it. So they had to kind of lie in the marketing. And also to conceal the secret of the film itself as well. But that's the problem is like if you were able to market it as what it really was but not give it away, I think that this movie could be wildly popular because it nails the camp horror section.
I think it'll do the same thing Venom's doing because they're the same movie.
Well, Malignant is trash at the box office. It did horribly.
It's not. You don't think it's going to do better over time?
I think it's gonna. I think that streaming it makes it really hard to figure out what people are into.
Yeah.
But if this thing hits Netflix, it's gonna be in the top 10 of Netflix for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and I will say that I've heard
It's harder for things to become a cult classic. Is the point I'm trying to make? Like it can't do what Donnie Darko did because people discover things instantly now. And they're gone in like a second if they're not exactly what they frame up to be. Like when Donnie Darko came out in theaters, everybody was like, "This is fucking stupid." But because people had more time and they watched it later and came across it and it was like their little secret, they love it. But that's not a thing with movies anymore because everything's on streaming and they basically pick what you're going to watch.
Yeah, though I will say that I do think that this movie, Malignant, is like getting some traction, at least in like sort of, for lack of a better word, like film social media circles.
It's
like,
in the film bro circles.
Yeah, it's in the film bro circles. And then also in like the reaction to film bro circles, you know, that kind of thing. And people are really enjoying this movie. There are some people that don't, but I'm seeing it like get its traction in like the indie circles.
But the problem is with the indie circles now is like that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Correct.
Like it used to. Like it's not like there's no chance Malignant's going to go up for any kind of awards. Right. There's no chance that Criterion's going to print a Blu-ray with Malignant on it. It's just
not gonna
people are gonna be super into it like Under the Silver Lake like I was, and it's like this really cool movie, and then nobody's gonna talk about it anymore.
Makes me kind of wish it just came out in theaters.
It did.
Well, and it was supposed to be a 2020 release.
Yeah,
too.
It was. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But it did come out in theaters.
It did first before HBO?
On the same time. The same day
No,
release.
what I'm saying is I wonder what it would have done if it didn't do same day release.
I think it would have been a worse reaction.
You think so?
I think it would have gone
because I think people just
bad.
see any horror movie that's at the cinema.
But my point is
during
like,
this time of
people
year.
would think it's Bye Bye Man when it's not. It's like actually a good movie in some ways.
Yeah, but I'm saying people would go see it and then find out it's a good movie.
No, but I think people would go see it and like the general audience reaction because they think they're going in to see Conjuring are going to be really upset with it.
It's like when
because that's what
I
happened.
guess you're right.
That's what happened to the broad spectrum of people. People went in like, oh, this is like the Insidious.
They marketed it incorrectly.
And yeah, exactly. But the thing is, how do you market that correctly? And that's why studios don't make movies like this, and it sucks. That's why The Empty Man and movies like this don't come around anymore because a studio doesn't want to take a chance on a movie that they can't fully get out of. Like this movie's meant to be divisive in some ways too, and studios don't want to put that out anymore. They just want to put out things that everybody will love everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, this movie is very, like you said, camp, and camp is by its nature divisive, and like not everybody likes or even understands camp, and people have different ideas about what camp means.
Like when they remade Evil Dead, they took all the camp out of the movie.
Right.
Now, I like the remake of the Evil Dead. I think it's fine. I think it's a good movie on its own. It's really fucking gory and scary. But it's not the heart of the movie, and the reason why they did that wasn't because they couldn't write an amazing campy story with Bruce Campbell. I mean, he does a show, Ash vs. Evil Dead, anyway. But the reason really being that they knew that if they just made a really gory horror movie, they would get the Evil Dead fans, and they would also get the new people to enjoy the film, and then it crushed it at the box office.
Yeah.
So movies like this aren't made. And my point being is I'm just sad about that. I'm glad that James Wan like snuck it across the finish line and all, but I'm a little pissed that movies like this aren't made always.
And I mean, the thing that I also wish about this movie is that it it leaned into that campy tone more because it did have tone issues. And like what I wrote in my notes was, in the last 30 minutes, this movie finally becomes the movie that I want it to be. Like it becomes this like B movie, like fucking gore fest, and it's ridiculous.
There's moments early in the film too.
Yeah, it has those moments early, but in the last like half hour,
that's
it really like leans in.
Yeah,
when she's in like the girls' prison and shit.
Yeah, it's dope.
That's really where it kicks in.
It reminds me as like serious as like Thanksgiving. Like it's just like fun and goofy and
guys,
ridiculous.
do you remember when we reviewed Thanksgiving?
Oh my god!
Like this reminds me.
We have to do
so
Thanksgiving 3, the movie that skipped a sequel.
Fuck yeah.
That was such an insane movie. I can't even imagine how they could make.
Like I felt like this was like just a little more serious than that.
Yeah,
like I did not take this movie
no,
seriously.
this movie was trying to be more serious than that for sure. But I
but
argue
it didn't come off as much.
No,
right.
I think
and I think that's fine, and I like it as is.
I think that the cops being as campy as they were, it helped.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I also was like, I mean, it felt like two different movies. You'd be watching the scary shit with her, and then it would cut away to the cops, and I'd be like, what the fuck am I watching? So I get what you're saying. It was like tonally inconsistent.
Yeah, and
in
then
that way.
like, and then like with her, we have this like focus on her emotionally and her grief and like
the beginning of the
emotional
movie.
Turmoil that she's going through. But then we also have these like silly cops, and then at the end of the movie, it's like stomping heads and breaking bones.
The beginning of the movie is so
and
brutal.
It's her little face in the back.
She's
of
thrown.
The,
She's thrown against a wall and punched in her pregnant stomach.
Yeah,
that's the
up.
opening scene. And like, also, by the way, I knew something was going to be wrong with the back of her head for that too, because they zoomed in on her head smacking into the back of into that wall. And just to know now, in retrospect, like watching it later in the movie and realizing she woke up her brother on her head is insane.
It's fucking ridiculous, really. But then it's like, did she really wake him up though? Because like. But I was confused about that because she said that like he was around in her childhood too.
Yeah, but then they found a way to like suppress him.
Yeah, they suppressed him. Remember, that was the whole thing. They did a surgery and everything.
Yeah, but even when she was a kid, like, because he wanted her to kill the sister.
Yeah, but they suppressed it mentally. Like they took her to like a therapist to like weed him out of her. In a sense.
But then like getting jolted like that, literally like.
Okay, so she was
adopted. And then the like trauma of what was going on with her husband too.
So she was adopted after having surgery.
Yeah, but then the parents took her to like therapy and shit.
After, because of the whole knife
because
incident.
she was being all insane and brought a knife to the baby's stomach
that
and
is fucked
stuff.
up. Yeah,
and like she didn't know about it either.
Right.
So like
she
she basically blacked it out after they took her to all this like experimental therapy and shit. And then, like, boom, the back of her fucking head starts opening up when she hits the wall, and you're like, what the fuck?
I didn't quite...
Hussy.
Her hussy, dude.
Her hussy.
Fucking hussy, bro.
I will say, though I had spoilers, I didn't quite expect it to be so literal.
No,
you didn't expect the hussy?
I know. When I was watching it, and I saw the head thing, and then I thought about Basket Case, and I was like, there's no way that the movie that is doing so much subtlety in some ways is going to turn out to be I Have a Person on the Back of My Head, the horror movie. But it fucking was, and I loved that.
Yeah,
I loved that it
same.
did it anyway. It hate fucked us with its plot by still being scary.
And then the jokes were like, it's like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And I didn't take that literally. I thought that there was just like a second, like, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
A growth inside of her making her do insane things. But no, it's literally out of the back of her fucking head. And I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And just the little face, like when he's fully out, just like
When he's fully out.
I hate that so
when she
much.
becomes like the lesser face on the head, it just looks ridiculous.
I hate it. I love
But that,
it, but I
that
hate
prison
it.
murder scene was pretty tight. Like, let's just all admit,
Yeah, that
her
was
tearing those
insane.
people
No, that was
apart
dope. That
was
I-
insane, bro.
And that's the moment where it became the movie that I wanted it to be the whole time.
Right.
And I wish it just had been more of that. I wish it had given
When she's
me
just
more.
in the police station throwing desks like across like the insane, bro.
Fuck it up, dude.
Insane.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you notice that she got taller, kind of though?
Well, they definitely had to have somebody else do those.
No,
body
but I mean,
movements.
like in an aggressive way. Like suddenly she was like 6 inches taller when she was fighting these people, and I was like, what? I guess like I don't know. Maybe she got like real buff and strong when it's him or something. I don't know. It's wild though. It's insane.
Maybe Gabriel has better posture.
Yeah, it's a perception thing.
Maybe. I mean, he definitely looked taller though, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I don't know.
Also, he had tits on his back.
Yep. That's funny.
Imagine somebody's chasing him and they rip his shirt off as he's getting away,
my God.
and two breasts just
Just
flop out.
That's so funny.
Oh my god, they need to remake this movie.
No, they
That
don't.
scene.
They don't. One's enough. I'm good with the one we got. I don't want it touched again. If they tried to make like a Malignant 2, I'm good.
God, that would
Pass.
be
Yeah.
something else.
It said all it
Yeah.
needs to say. We're good.
It didn't
now.
really have much to say. It was just
Yeah.
oddly really fun. And
was
titty
just- it's
titty
just-
back is really funny to me.
It's just one of those movies which I love, and where the whole point of the movie is like, it'd be pretty fucked if that happened, huh?
Yeah.
Like, that would be a fucked up thing if it happened.
It's kind of like Tusk, and that's why it makes me wonder why you hate Tusk so much. Because it's very much like this disturbing story that's like ridiculous.
I cannot
That's
look at the
actually really
walrus
interesting.
thing.
Yeah, I
that
was
you
gonna
say
say
that
probably the medical
because-
gore and the
Yeah.
walrus.
I don't fuck with medical gore.
I don't
usually.
either.
But this
The movie-
this kind of has it though, because she rips open her face, she rips Gabriel's face out of her own head.
It's because it's a hussy. First off,
It's
and
not
I
a hussy.
and I find
It's
it.
not a hussy.
and I find.
Guys, if we review Cars, we have to talk about Cussy.
Yeah.
but
Anyway, continue.
But oh, go ahead.
I was just in Minecraft, and also this movie is ridiculous. I don't like Tusk. It's bad vibes, and I love Kevin Smith properties usually, like always. But this was just ridiculous. I keep recommending this movie to anybody and everybody.
It's really
It's
funny.
so fun.
It's really funny you compare it to Tusk because I actually earlier today I'm in like a Facebook group. It's like a film bro kind of Facebook group,
Yeah.
or like an anti-film bro Facebook group actually.
How often do you promote
By
our
definition.
podcast? Never.
I do all the time actually.
Oh, really? Does anybody
Yeah.
listen to it?
I don't know if anybody does, but when people like ask for podcast recs, I'm like, mine.
Mine. Slap it down.
But somebody
12,000
was saying
views on Scooby Doo, bitch.
somebody posted that they really liked Tusk, and they were like, what other movies are like Tusk? And one of the ones recommended was actually Malignant.
I think that's fair.
And I think that that's actually a really good comparison.
No, it's exactly like Venom though,
It is like Venom too.
but less gay.
Less gay than Venom, that's true, but it is like Venom in that.
It's kind of bad, but kind of good.
And
Yeah.
then like the idea of there's this like
Duality.
evil growth thing.
Oh my
that you've
god,
got,
yes.
You know.
That you can't quite control.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I got like in the way the B movies sometimes do, like I actually kind of liked like the metaphor that like this movie hinges on, which is this idea that we all have this like darkness inside of us
Yeah.
that we have to keep in check, and that we can't hide from it. We have to know
And
that
that
it's there and accept it.
that toxic surroundings can bring it out of you.
Yeah, I wrote something in my notes. I think
Like
and
what
I'll-
really started all the horribleness was the fact that she was being abused. And then this thing comes out and fucking murders the shit out of
Correct.
him.
Honestly, the best scene was him getting fucking murdered.
Yeah,
It
that
was pretty
great.
tight. It was
Besides
pretty tight.
the like head face thing on the back of the head when she's fighting
when
in the
she's-
final scene.
when she's
Yeah.
ripping her fucking
Yeah,
head
that was
open.
crazy.
Her hussy.
When she's opening
She
up her
fully
hussy,
opened.
glory shotting her hussy for us, and then she kills all those lesbians in that prison.
she popped that
Which,
hussy.
by the way, was this Winter Prison's lesbian convention?
the prison scene was weird. Like,
I
I'm like,
know.
who
Like-
are these people?
Like it really felt like a bit of a lesbian. It felt like an MGMT
Right.
concert.
Minus Leo DiCaprio.
It's like, oh shit,
That's a little one.
yikes. No, or like a Foster the People concert.
Yeah.
Like it was really lesbian up in there.
Yeah. But what I wrote in my notes about this was we all have like a dark, scary, angry thing festering in us, and we can let it define and rule our lives, or we can ignore, and we can let it define and rule our lives, or we can accept it and like learn how to keep it at bay. And I kind of thought that was like a cool
yeah.
metaphor for this movie. Like in the way that it's like really kind of stupid and dumb, but also like, yeah, that is kind of a thing. I don't know.
It's an empowering message. It's a good one.
Yeah, but like
Shown in the most ridiculous way.
yeah,
but
and Venom too. You know, it's
Yeah.
the same thing. Yeah, same deal, just different context.
yeah, for sure.
I'm really glad we got in pretty early after Venom like came out, as well as
Yeah.
talking about Malignant while it's still kind of relevant. I know it's about to leave HBO, but I also know that it's about to come out on digital media for purchase. So if you want to watch it, like you're really not going to have that big of a window to wait. And I think that like you're gonna enjoy it if you like camp horror films. Like if you love like what's the one from 2011 where it's like Cabin in the Woods? Like it's
Yeah,
very Cabin in the
These,
Woods.
these both feel potential cult classics.
I think that this
Yeah,
one
for
stands
sure.
a better chance of becoming like a cult classic in the horror genre, like in the sense of like it really being immortalized. Like when a horror movie becomes a part of the culture everybody who's in that movie is like horror famous forever. You can go to a convention 20 years after this movie is irrelevant, and there's still going to be people asking for a signature. I think this movie has that campy horror capability. Yeah. Whereas Venom, I think, is more of like a moment that will pass.
I agree. I think that that's probably.
I think that this is very.
I think this movie has more substance to it than Venom does, for sure.
I agree,
and I think that that's what it kind of elevates it. And while I have my issues with it, like I definitely enjoyed watching it, and even though I knew the twist, I was surprised by it at many occasions.
This felt a little more art house than some campy horror movies too. Like it definitely.
Absolutely.
The scene where like that thing's above her and the whole screen is red. It's in the thumbnail. And then you just like see the room kind of like disappearing around her. That's a really cool scene. Now, in context of the film, it's not as scary as it's driven to be in the trailer, but it's still really interesting to look at. Like, it's very like indie horror, 100%.
And I liked the way that it was shown how she has these memories and like the way that
like if you've ever seen the original Suspiria, it's very like inspired by that. You can see it in like all the different lighting choices and how some scenes look like they're like from a stage and some scenes feel like a real building.
And I think that's intended, and that's definitely intentional.
It's intended because the ones where there's a stage, there's almost a part of your brain that makes you feel like this is when horrible things are going to happen.
Right.
Because things look so knockaway, and then they purposefully put the scary things in scenes where you don't think it can happen, and they suspend your disbelief in that way.
And then for her, and then also on the other level for her, it is like kind of a stage because it's not real.
It's kind of like when we used to work in an escape room. Yeah, you could always kind of tell what the fixture was going to be that was going to open up, because there's like, it's almost like when you're playing like an old video game and like there's one doorway that's actually defined and the rest are just pictures.
Right.
I think that happens a lot in these like low budget movies, and since this was a bit higher of a budget, they were able to take scenes where you were so sure something would happen, and then instead in the prison, which feels like a real prison cell in a sense, that's where she fucking rips the head out of her head and murders a bunch of people, and you're not really expecting it in that sense. You're expecting her to do something, but you're not expecting a fucking gore fest right then and there.
It was great. And I'll say too, I really liked, like you said, the light, like how scenes were lit and shot. I liked that aspect of it.
Very much the original Suspiria, not the remake, which is also good, but like the original Suspiria, it feels just like this.
And the other thing I really liked too was the score. I really enjoyed that kind of like pulsing electronicness of it.
Yeah.
Me and Bridget watched Drive the other day. I fell asleep. But it kind of reminds me of the score for Drive in a way that it's got this like pulse going through it.
I feel like it's not as good as Drive.
Oh, well,
but
no,
it's
nothing
like,
is.
It's not as bad as Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
It found its techno score somewhere in the middle, where sometimes I really liked it and other times I'm like, this is a fucking cartoon. But then again, that might be the emotion that's trying to be portrayed, because usually when it's over the top, something fucking wild was happening. Like when the cop was chasing Gabriel, aka what's her face.
Yeah, that was a crazy
And
scene.
then you just see like this thing like flipping around in pipes and like, you know, just like the insane acrobatics of this person.
I want to know like who did the stunts
music
for this.
The music during that is insane.
Yeah.
And the scene is insane.
It's crazy.
Feels like the island of Dr. Moreau or something. You're like taken to a totally different genre of film.
I love the way the like Gabriel character moves. I think it's like really interesting to look at, like the kind of backwards movement.
I used to work in a haunted
really
house,
cool
and it's very much like he's doing such a good job, honestly.
Yeah.
Whoever's doing this
the
has to be
physical
very
acting.
like athletic and
It's very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
for sure.
I love that scene where all the bones breaking like to go the other direction.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
Like that was like icky, but it was a good scene.
Oh jeez.
Like, yes.
Anyway, I think we got to wrap this up here soon, don't we?
Yeah.
All right, guys. What do we all rate this?
I'm gonna give this like an 8.5. I love this movie. It was ridiculous. It was so fun.
It's like a 6.5 for me.
I'm gonna say like a 7.5. I thought it was really fun, but also was taken completely aback by the concept, and like
I get that.
And it was sort of like when you think you're gonna drink water and you actually drink like
Milk.
Yeah, like it's just
Your
like
brain's like, what? Yeah.
Like you can't tell if it's quite bad, but like it's not what you wanted. It's not what you thought you were getting.
Right. But like I think taking that feeling away, like I really did enjoy it. I thought it was well crafted and well done.
I'll give it a 7. I really enjoyed aspects of it. I wish it just committed a little bit more tonally. That was my big issue. If it had like really owned the camp of it, I think it would have been a better movie for it. But there were times when tonally it just felt off.
I feel like a part of the tonal issues too were in an effort to conceal the end of the movie.
Right. I agree.
But that's the part of the issue. And that's the part of the issue with the movie as a whole. Maybe it's just flawed in nature. Maybe you can't really make it perfect. Because if you want it to come off super commercial, this movie's never going to be that. So, like, you're never going to be able to make a commercial version of this film and have it be 100% what you want it to be.
Right. But I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed watching
Tons
it.
of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Where else can they find us, Franny?
You can find us at youtube.com/crosscutcinema. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Oh, I do want to say one other thing about next week. So we're going to be doing Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, not next week, but the next episode. So just a heads up for that. We'll be reviewing it the very week, it'll hit on the weekend that following Wednesday.
Yeah.
You'll hear our review for Halloween Kills.
And we're hype.
About it. You know, for me, Halloween is one of the most important franchises in my filmography of what I love and my favorite shit. I love those movies. And then also I'm going to be, I don't know, we can talk about this later, but I got an idea for another Halloween thing that I can do. And I might post that on my extra channel. So
Awesome.
if you want to see that, it'd be at youtube.com/Logan Tyler. Sorry, Logan Tyler Music. Get fucked. And you can also listen to, did you mention a pilot podcast?
No, I haven't yet.
We do another podcast with recording artist CL Blue, who's got a new album coming out soon, so pay attention to that. But
And you
basically,
heard his song in the ad roll.
yeah, Big Night In, very good.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, love that song. But anyway, we do reviews of TV show pilots, and we talk about them. I think around this time we'll be putting out our Halloween specials.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to hear us talk about American Horror Story, as well as a couple of holiday, like Halloween specials and normal sitcoms and TV shows. We'll be going over that stuff too. So yeah, I think that Madison had something she wanted to plug.
Yeah, I do art, and I have a Redbubble where you can buy the things that I draw on T-shirts, shower curtains, aprons, etc. If you can think of it, you can probably
It's
buy
muy
it
best,
on
bruv.
Correct.
That's Chet Hanks. Pussy clot.
Yeah, hell yeah. But anyway, I
She's
draw
got some good shit on there.
Thank
No,
you.
it is cool shit though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I draw shit. It's on there. Links in the links in the description.
It is a bio depending on where you look at it.
Yeah,
That's true.
But yeah, links in the bio. Check it out. Buy some shit. I would appreciate it.
Definitely.
Get me out of my cubicle. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, guys. It's been real. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Peace out, kids.